Okay, here's a piece of sea grape. Amongst all of the different pieces I've had, this is kind of interesting because it has so many things sticking out on it. Now, initially here, I'm going to cut this off because if I make a round circle where this is the top, this sticks out too far, and it's kind of interesting wood, but it's just not going to be in the bowl. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to make this the top and this down here the bottom, and so it'll have these lumps in it, and I'll see what happens. But my intent is to hollow it out maybe 5 inches, 6 inches in diameter, and so we'll see how it goes. One thing of note, as I've stated many times, is this wood tends to turn red over time, and you can see where I just fresh cut it, it's cream color, not hardly any orange tint at all. And you can see that this has been laying around and it's kind of creamy. I think if I put it outside, the humidity goes higher than the garage. I don't know for sure what's going on. I think it's oxidation, but in any case, it changes color and gets fairly orange if I put it outside for a little while. And so, in any case, there's that removed branch. So next thing I'll do is probably cut this down. Okay, I cut these all kind of level, and I'm going to cut this diagonal edge off. Since this is the top anyway, I'm not going to go way out here. So I'm going to cut this off too, and we'll see what that means. Freshly cut and aged in the yard. So this is orange, but it starts turning dark. So I don't know exactly how to stop and start it. I basically expose it with no finish. It turns darker, kind of orangish red, and then I put a coat of finish on it and it seems to stop. Plus it's indoors, so it's not getting exposed to the humidity that you see outside. Okay, I've got this, I've kind of decided that's where the center is, where this nail is, or this brad. So it's kind of centered this way and this way. I'm going to put the spur drive down in there. I think that'll work out for me. I may have to chisel some off this corner. We'll see. But I'm going to try and put the spur drive right down in there. Okay, I've got this mounted pretty perpendicular. This surface is pretty close to perpendicular to the bed. And this is centered, and the flat spots that I cut on here are also pretty much perpendicular to the bed. So we'll see. I'm going to have to keep tightening this up because the spur is not driven in really hard. So, okay, I've got this piece of sea grape that had a branch that was cut off and then started to regrow over it. This isn't a very good angle, but it has a lot of branches sticking out on it. And so right now this is going to be the top, this will be the bottom. And my plan is to curve this up a little bit. And I don't know if I'll hit this because of how much I leave here. I don't know yet. I'll have to work at it. Okay, I just turned this around. I have a spur drive here, and I put the chuck on my middle-sized chuck, 3¼ inches or so. So I think I've got this generally. I didn't sand or completely finish it because I've got access to it. I want to start hollowing out the inside and see what happens. Obviously it's going to have a no wall or something over here as I go down in, so we'll see. Okay, I'm going to put a coat of tried and true finish on this sea grape bowl. You can see I've had it outdoors for a little while. It's kind of orange. I think what's going to happen though, and you can see the front is a little bit darker than the back. So I don't know what all causes this, whether it's oxidation or a little bit of UV and temperature or what, but I think it's mostly oxidation. But it definitely turns darker on the surface that's facing up, even though the bottom does change too. Okay, let's see what happens. Well, that's it. I guess it's on there. I'm a little bit off on my picture here, but that's where I am. Okay, here is my 10th sea grape bowl. This one is similar to some of the others. What I did have here was in this area here, there was some softwood that I stiffened up with sawdust and super glue, so it has a different color than the rest of the wood. And the orange darkened up quite a bit when I guess this has happened most of the time. The orange darkens up when you put the finish on. Doesn't continue to darken, it appears, but it does darken it up quite a bit. You'll also notice it's darker on the ends. That's the middle of this has gotten dark in the process where it's sitting outside or sitting in the garage, wherever. So it's got some very orange, some almost red, and some tan colors. So the sea grape I like working with. It does get brittle as it gets dry, so it wants to tear out more easily as the wood gets drier than what it is when I was doing it earlier on. But overall, it's turned out relatively well.
If you like what you see, please like and subscribe for more similar wood turning videos. Please comment on the video and I should respond. I make a video about once a week.